Hello, viewer, and welcome to Spotlight here on Hope TV, where you look and live. And on Spotlight, we always do our very best to bring to you persons who are transforming our community in the direction of light. And of course, very important when it comes to our country are the members of parliament. And today we are honored to have one of those parliamentarians. And sometimes, you hear parliamentarians, sometimes you have a mixed view about is it a good person, is it not a very good person? But I'm sure that he'll make a good representation, especially of his work, of his calling. And we're going to be engaging the state of the nation, especially the state of values and corruption and what that means in terms of us as a country going forward, and the need for us to fix and emphasize those two areas because they are key to our growing. Again, we want to welcome Geoffrey Ruku, Honorable Geoffrey Ruku, who is the Member of Parliament of Mbeere. Again, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Spotlight.
Thank you, Edwin.
And welcome to Hope Media.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here.
For the very first time.
Yes, I've never been here.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
Good. Welcome. And, one of the things that sometimes we would want to know is people have different views about parliamentarians.
Yes.
Some are good, others are not so good. But would want to know, especially from you as a person, do you find your role as a member of parliament a calling? Does it have an aspect of a calling to it?
Indeed, it's a calling because for you to be elected as a member of parliament, you go through a very rigorous process. And in most cases, you may not go through that process for once or for the first time, and then you become a member of parliament. In the process, you are likely to be discouraged by many aspects, from the family, from the friends, to even the environment in which you are working in. So it's a very rigorous process and difficult process, very expensive process. So if it is not a calling, it's something which you can't be able to pursue. You must have a very strong inner drive. You must have something which is burning in you or in your belly, so that you can be able to push every single day to be elected.
All right.
For everybody who is elected as a member of parliament, that person is indeed, I respect him because it's a rigorous process.
Okay. Well, about the burning, something burning within your belly.
Yes.
Let's talk to you specifically, Honorable Ruku. What burns within you as in your quest for leadership? As you say, it's an expensive process, and it is a tedious work in every way. So what burns in your belly?
I have been in quite a number of countries, and I can say without fear of contradiction, all the nations of the world, the way they are, the outcome of the leadership of that nation. Whether it is the United States of America, they have very strong economy because of the leadership of that nation. Whether it is the nations in Europe, whether it is nations in Africa or in Asia, we talk about Asian tigers, whether it is China, the economies of those nations, the standard of living of all the nations in the world is, as a result, is a factor. For us who have done some mathematics or economics, you normally say Y is equal to a factor into bracket, a number of factors. So the status of economy of any nation, the social status of any nation is a factor of the leadership, and more so the political leadership of that nation.
Okay.
And therefore, I would want to contribute in one way or the other to shaping the destiny of one nation, to contribute, because we are in this world for a short time, and for the period we have been given space and drive by God let's contribute positively. We can only contribute positively by coming up with policies, with regulations, with laws, which can impact our society in a very positive manner.
Okay.
It's a difficult process, but you have to try to roll a society 1 meter in a positive direction. The energy, the effort which you need to put into place. If we equate it into, megawatt or into the most explosive bomb we have, it's huge energy which you need to roll a society in a positive direction, just 1 meter. So we need a lot of effort. We need to attack it from different directions for us to have a positive impact in our society. And that is what we are going to do.
All right.
And I think for those who are elected, that space, we have to do it.
Okay. Even from your expression, I can see you folding your face and just, there's something going on there. But you lift up a matter that is significant, because you say that the state of the nation directly depends on the quality of the leadership.
Yes.
And you say you burn to provide and to be part of that force that moves the nation forward.
Yes.
Now, Kenya is 60 this year.
Yes.
And many times there's always an analysis that says we should be further than where we are at.
Yes.
Do you agree with that? And if you agree with it, so what's been up with our quality of leadership?
Yes, I do agree that we are 60 years as a nation. Where we are not supposed to be there. But at the same time, we have to appreciate the history. The Cold War era affected many nations in a very negative way. Actually, we have to give credit to the former president, the former President Moi, because he's a president who steered this country for a long period of time when the Cold War was at its peak. And a lot of not very good things happened to the nations of Africa because of the influence between the USSR and the United States of America. Whatever was happening in Europe and Russia and what was happening in United States of America. So there was quite a number of coups coup d'etats happening in Africa. We know that CIA and other leaders across Europe and America and Russia and France and Germany, they were really meddling into the internal affairs of African nations. So we were seriously affected as a nation because of that. But that came to an end. We have to have the repellent effort, because it is possible to transform a nation within a period of 10 to 20 years. But for us to do that, we have to come up with an extremely radical policies, which will benefit the common man, which will benefit, all the sectors of economy. We may construct policies which are only aimed at benefiting the bourgeois or the ruling class, and the guys who are at the bottom, the proletarians, are not benefiting from those policies. We have seen in this country that coffee and tea, this can change the country, can change the economy of the rural areas of this country in a very big way. But the policies which were constructed by the ruling class was to benefit themselves. That the coffee and our tea does not benefit the farmer. And it's not only coffee and tea, but also many other what we have as a nation. We have seen construction of policies in in sectors like milk, in sectors like, Pythagoras. What happened to Pythagoras?
Yeah.
This time Kenya was exporting Pythagoras 80% to the world. Today is 2%. What happened? We have seen things like leather. This time Kenya was exporting leather to other nations. I'm talking about products which are commonly available in our villages, which will go directly to benefit a household in a very deep village in my constituency. This time cotton was key farm agricultural product from our farms across the country. What really happened to cotton?
Yeah.
So we need to restructure quite a number of things so that we can ensure we change our nation for good.
All right.
For us to do that, a number of things have to happen. A lot of pain has to be experienced.
And we'll come to the pain, because we are in a situation right now where pain seems to be the recipe. But before we go there, again, you've talked about the former president, the late president Daniel Arap Moi, having done a lot of commendable work.
Yes.
And you seem to just say that we've done fairly well given our history and our experiences.
Yes.
But still, I'm sure that there are some aspects about our own leadership that you feel we need to improve radically. I think the word you've used is radically.
Yes.
I know that we are doing radical measures at present, but maybe also the leaders need to also make some radical adjustments in terms of their style, in terms of their spirit, in terms of the way they understand their role, and especially legislators at that. Can you comment about that?
Oh, yes. Parliament is a very premium stage. It's a stage where you make laws which can impact this nation either in a negative way or in a very positive way. Or you also make regulations which also can have a very good impact or negative impact to this nation. Now the question is, how many of us have committed themselves 100% to ensuring that is going to happen? That's a question which I don't want to answer because I'm in that house. But I think Kenyans can be able to answer that question.
Okay.
We need to give ourselves, for those who are in that premium stage, that privileged stage, to really think what is that policy which can be constructed, either in a regulation or in a law, to ensure things are going to happen. Another thing is also, once we make these regulations and laws and policies, are they going to be implemented to the letter? Is there the spirit of proper implementation? And that's where the end of state comes in. Sorry. And I think because a government has three arms: the executive, the parliament, and the judiciary. The executive is the arm of implementing whatever is being done in parliament, whether it's in the Senate or in the National Assembly. And if we don't get also the right in terms of people who are implementing some of these policies, these regulations, then we end up not going far. But that's what we are saying at the moment. In this government, we have to encourage the president that his government must ensure things are going to happen in the right manner. And if something somewhere does not go well, then whoever is orchestrating whatever is not going well must feel the pain.
Okay. And of course, it is the desire of every Kenyan that the government succeeds. Because the success of the present government is the success of everyone.
That's true.
The failure also is a failure of everyone.
That's true.
Let me just get a little personal about your your style of leadership,
Yes.
and ask what role God and spirituality play in terms of your style, in terms of your vision,
Yeah.
in terms of your spirit of leadership.
God plays a very central place in whatever I'm trying to do at the moment, because it has been a very long journey. My studies at the university, at a graduate university, I was sponsored to some extent by the church, by the men of God. I was sponsored by a bishop, the late Emmanuel Bishop Barbara, to some extent. I was also sponsored by Cardinal John Joy, to some extent. I was also sponsored by the late Father Finicent Ireri, the priest of Embu Diocese. So the church has played a very critical role to mold me to be able to get my first degree. And more so, I went to university, Catholic University of Eastern Africa, where we used to say, consecrate them in truth. That is John chapter, I think, chapter 9, verses 1, I'm not sure. But the motto is from the book of John, consecrate them in truth. So basically what I'm trying to say is, please, we have to do what is right as the leaders of the nation, and we have to be truthful to this calling, to the mandate which we have been given by the people. We have to be truthful. As the Bible says, consecrate them in truth. Let all the leaders be consecrated in truth.
All right.
And let's try and endeavor to do that. So my background is very firmly, based on the church.
So you've been born in a way you've been born by the church.
Yes.
In that they have really invested
Yes.
in your life.
In a
Which
big
brings
way.
us to an important part of our conversation
Yes.
about the values of this nation.
Yes.
And there is a perspective which is absolutely valid when there is the hard economic equations that must be done, for this country to go forward.
Yes.
But there's also the neglected equation of the values, such that we have to fix the values as well. We have to fix the ideals of this nation, so that even as the economic part prospers,
Yes.
the values section also prospers. Because when with a lot of money, then with no values,
Yes.
then there's a lot of poverty.
Yes.
Right? And maybe you can now give the viewer just your analysis of the value status in this nation.
We have a long way to go. As far as the population, the way we are structured socially, the social stratas within our nation, I tend to think we have a long way to go. And because of also our curriculum, education curriculum, I would say again, it is Catholic University where we were doing a common unit, all of us, regardless of which degree we are taking. And we used to call it Christian ethics and moral maturity. Christian ethics and moral maturity. It was a compulsory unit for all students, whether you are doing bachelor's of commerce or mathematics or sociology or political science or theology or philosophy, whatever it is. And it's something which does not happen in other universities. I think in our curriculums, that is where we should start inculcating the values and ethics of the young people. We need to look at the education system. Of course, not the education system, but the teachings which we have in the unit, the subject. The one is the subject which we have in our schools, so that we can slowly inculcate some of these values, so that we can know what ought to be done, what need to be done, those are two different things. And the question why. So we start from the young, but we have a situation. We have a population which is not in school, which you can't take back to school. It can only be regulated by the laws which the parliament has to put in place, which are our institutions are going to put in place. As we do the background, for the young people who are in primary school and who are in secondary school and who are universities and other training institutions, as they go through their molding as young people, for us who are mature, who are men and women, then we have to regulate our conduct.
All right.
In law.
Okay.
And we have to accept this has to be done for us to change this country. It is possible, this country, to be at the same level with other nations in the world. It is possible. There is no difference whatsoever in terms of Kenya and the state of Israel. There's no difference whatsoever in terms of Kenya and South Korea, Kenya and Malaysia, Kenya and name it. In 1945, Germany was zero. Today is the biggest economy in Europe.
And I like your optimism, and I like your hope. And we'll talk a bit about that. We'll take a short break. But also, we'll also want to engage, still on that values section, your proposed amendments to the anti-corruption law.
Yes.
And that has also brought out some discussion.
Yes.
That are we then watering down
Yes.
the anti-corruption law?
Yes.
Would want to engage about that.
Yes.
Again, viewer, we are talking to Honorable Geoffrey Roku, who is the Member of Parliament of Mbeere, and we're talking about the state of the nation, especially in the values dimension, and we are having some very insightful views here. When we come back, we'll also be welcoming Vivian Tarr, who is a political analyst, to join us in this conversation. Again, this is Spotlight. Thank you for being here.
Kama vile mashua baharini, mizani imekwisha wasili. Mara hii kila Alhamisi.
Msalata kabisa, mpenzi mtazamaji, mpenzi msikilizaji wa Mizani.
Tungependa Wakenya waende kwenye nchi ambazo tuko na mikataba nao.
Kulikuwa na Raila Odinga, kukawa na Wajakoya pia. Mbona hongeunga mkono?
Tupe mauzani wa masuala ibuka na chipukayo toka kila pembe ya Kenya na ukanda huu wa Afrika. Yawe mambo au vijimambo, jiongea na kutaarifu na kuarifu zako fikra. Kila Alhamisi saa 1 machweo kwenye runinga ya Hope TV.
Mitamu.
Tukutane Mizani.
The Asian community in Kenya has been nationally recognized as the 44th tribe of the people of this great nation.
For me, God is real in Christianity. I talk to Him, He talks to me. I fail, He forgives me.
When I first read the first book of Genesis, it gave me an orderly sense of accounts of creation. Day 1 is what He does. Day 2, He creates this. Day 3.
Every third Thursday of the month, we bring you Asia Testify,
where we will be listening to life-transforming stories of Asian believers who have walked with the Lord. Only here on Hope TV. Look and live.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content, of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Kama vile mashua baharini, mizani imekwisha wasili. Mara hii kila Alhamisi.
Msoleta kabisa, mpenzi mtazamaji, mpenzi msikilizaji wa Mizani.
Tungependa Wakenya waende kwenye nchi ambazo tuko na mikataba nao.
Kulikuwa na Raila Odinga, kukawa na Ojakoya pia. Mbona hongeunga mkono?
Tuwape mauzani wa masuala ibuka na chupukayo toka kila pembe ya Kenya na ukanda huu wa Afrika. Yawe mambo au vijimambo, jiunge na kutaarifu na kuarifu zako fikra. Kila Alhamisi saa 1 machweo kwenye runinga ya Hope TV.
Ni tamu.
Tukutane Mizani.
Welcome back, viewer. We are talking about the state of the nation and especially the state of the values of this nation. And we are happy to, in this conversation, have Honorable Geoffrey Roko, the Member of Parliament of Mbeere, and also now joined by Vivian Tarr, who is a political analyst and youth champion. And we again are having very insightful conversation that I'm sure the views are quite helpful for us as we engage our day-to-day things, even in this country. So we, Honorable Roko, before the break, we were talking about the corruption and values.
Yes.
We had just got into that place and also highlighting now that there's a proposal you're making to amend the anti-corruption law. And you tell us about the amendments that you are proposing. At the same time, your view about just the discussion that you could be actually diluting the fight against corruption through these amendments.
Okay, thank you. Let me give a background. Article 45 B and C of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crime Act of 2003 talks about any person who may willingly and carelessly fail to perform certain functions of procurement is liable to a criminal prosecution. And C also talks about if that person does procurement-related things within the public entity without prior planning, is liable to a criminal offense. So that is what the Article 45 B and C talks about. Now, we have seen in the past government, where quite a number of senior government officers in parastatus were arrested on Friday and taken to court on Monday. Quite a number of them. At the moment, it is not happening. It's either there is no procurement-related offenses which are happening, or there was witch hunt. We don't know which is which. The other aspect is quite a number of all those who have been prosecuted, the cases have been withdrawn. Others have been acquitted. And the cases which have been prosecuted successively from 2018 to 2022, there are only 6 cases. Only 6 cases. For every year, Anti-Corruption Authority from 2018 to 2022 almost received, on average, about 3,000 cases. I mean 3,000, not cases, but 3,000 possible cases for prosecution. For those cases that have been taken through the process of prosecution, quite a number of them have been withdrawn, quite a number of them have been acquitted, and few, very few, have been convicted. Now, you realize, because we live in this country, a number of cases that have been acquitted, a number of cases that have been withdrawn, we lost public money out of coffers. So the question is, why is it that money has been lost, but people have been acquitted? Money has been lost, and cases have been withdrawn. Okay. That means the Parliament of Kenya is providing law which is not efficient, which is not effective in administration of justice to the taxpayers of the Republic of Kenya.
All right. Let's stay with that. And that point, quite illustrated. Again, because, as you say, we live in this country. And corruption is one of the vices that really pulls us back.
Yes.
Even as we are 60 today, we could have maybe more to show if the corruption has been well taken care. Has been well taken care of.
Yes.
Now, as you have a vision for this country, as you have a calling for this country, as you burn in yourself to make a difference this time, what do you feel would be some strong things, radical things that we should do to tame, to just curtail corruption from where you stand?
From where I sit, we need to put, we have a very beautiful constitution. But unfortunately, we, the members of parliament, are not putting that constitution into effect. The constitution is put into effect through act of parliament. This constitution has a number of articles. Each and every article, or majority of the articles in this constitution, should be put into effect through act of parliament. Then the act of parliament is further extrapolated through regulations. If you go to Article 226 of this constitution, if I'm not wrong, which have not been put into effect up to now, for me, I would want to put into effect Article 226, which talks about the account and the audit of public entities. Article 226(5) says, if the holder of public office, including a political office, direct or approve the use of public funds contrary to the law or instructions, the person is liable for any loss arising from that use and shall make good the loss, whether that person remain the holder of the office or not. My brother, this section, Article 226, Section 5 of our Constitution, has not been put into effect through an act of parliament. Remember, Anti-Corruption and Economic Crime Act is an act of 2003. By then, we didn't have this constitution. So we need to put this section, Article 226, Section 5, into effect through a serious, a radical act of parliament.
I think that the word here is radical.
Yes.
And truly, because what's going on right now in our country, especially in terms of values,
yes,
unless we radically deal,
yes,
and sometimes when we also benchmark with other nations, we know that one of the things they radically dealt with, for them to progress was corruption.
Yes.
And let's bring in Vivian and especially when we look at the state of our nation right now, and the relationship between the government and the people, right? And I'm sure you have, the general air is one of an outcry, you know. And if we were to use a values language, would say, people are asking, does the government love us? You know, does the government love us? Because it seems there is a lot of pain, you know, that is coming, especially at this particular time, and the population has to endure quite a bit of measures. Your comments on that?
Maybe we should start by asking who is the government. And then also question what is our place in all this? What is our role in all this? How did we get here? I think if we can take responsibility, then as a people, then maybe now that radical change we want to see would begin, that transformation would begin. As Kenyans, I think we are very quick to point fingers. We are very quick to blame others, but we never really look inward and find out what was our role in this. When something goes wrong, we are very quick to say, Fulani, amefanya makosa, ametukosea, but we never really question our responsibility or our role in how things turn out to be. So we're just from an election now about maybe 11 months ago. And I mean, during the election, everybody's campaigning, you know, voters have a choice. You can pick who you want based on the people who've presented themselves on the ballot. But still, we pick many times rogue people, people with questionable character, people with questionable values. And this is not the first time it's happening. Last election is not the only time it's happened. It's happened during several election cycles. And when things go south or things don't go like we expected, you know, we turn around and say, this person is not trustworthy. This person is not good enough. And these are, I mean, there were red flags, there were signs from the get-go. But many times we ignore it because we think the ballot doesn't really matter. Some people are even apathetic to voting because they say, you know, it won't help my life, itansaidia. But then when the rubber meets the road and you realize the person I elected into the National Assembly or to Senate actually has a say in what? My taxes, you know, in the cost of fuel, in cost of bread. But when you were voting, you did not think. You were saying it's not important. Or if you didn't vote, you said, me, I have my life. Those MPs don't even help me. But now, when fuel prices are going up, when, you know, your salary is impacted, then now you start complaining and you start blaming those very MPs who you put into office either directly or indirectly. So I think as much as we have rights as citizens of Kenya, we need to embrace our responsibilities. You cannot have rights without responsibility. It goes both ways. When you're exercising your rights as a citizen, remember you also have a responsibility. So as we talk about values, and like Mheshimiwa said, we have a very good constitution that, you know, spells out all those things, even values. But as a people, I think that the moral fabric of our society, I think we are losing some of these values. We are failing to see the bigger picture. Yes, we all want a better Kenya, but what will it take for Kenya to be better? You can't keep saying, Rev hasn't done this, the church hasn't done this, the MPs haven't done this. What is your role in all this? What are you doing as a person? We say that the family unit is like the basic units of society, which means at the very basic level, like at family level, everybody there has a responsibility. The parents, the children, and it starts from that very basic level. How are you raising your children? How is education done? How is knowledge imparted? How are values imparted? So all of us have a responsibility, and we cannot keep saying, only so-and-so is bad, or so-and-so is not doing their bit. What are you doing? What are you doing? As much as, yes, your focus is on getting a better life for yourself and your family, but you have a bigger role in the wider society. So So I think those are the important questions we need to ask ourselves. And the sooner we do it, the better.
Okay.
Otherwise, I mean, this cycle will keep going on and on and on.
You know, and I think that's the feeling of the Kenyans at this particular time. And Honorable Rocco, the mood, you know, of the Mwananchi right now is one of feeling quite, you know, like the government is coming at them, you know, it's coming at them. And right now, for anyone to part with within 100 shillings of yourself at this present time, sometimes it's straining, right? And I know that even given your understanding of, you know, finance and economics, that this is an economic equation. You know, for us to restore this country, there has to be an economic equation. But that said, there's a social dimension to it, whereby the people are crying. The outcry is everywhere. I mean, very few people would say we want to, you know, we want to pay more. You know, very few people say want to pay more taxes. But what would you say would be a good way to transition the Kenyans through this, as you say, you know, painful time?
I think what's happening, because we are at the very initial stages of taking our economy in the right space. And that initial stage has some pain. And you are right to say that at the moment Kenyans are feeling a bit painful to get even to part with 100 shilling. But what I can assure Kenyans is, within a year, within this financial year, in the next financial year, by July next year, it is possible that Kenyans will be telling the President of the Republic of Kenya, please tax us more. Why? Because this tax is going to be used in the most prudent manner. And we are asking the President, if anyone, whoever it is, misuses the taxpayers' resources, using this in a figurative manner, that person should be hanged in the Torres tree in Uhuru Park. The misuse of public resources must be painful because Kenyans are feeling a lot of pain to contribute to these taxes. But this is what is going to happen. For every economy, when there is a problem, there is always an injection. You choose the method you are going to inject the economy so that it can be stimulated, to stimulate the economy. There is a way you can stimulate the economy, then you increase the inflation. And therefore, there is money circulation within the economy, but that money is useless. I mean, it cannot be able to buy the basket of goods it used to buy yesterday. You need the basket of goods which used to cost, let's say, 100 bob. At the moment, depending on how you are going to inject, stimulate the economy, may cost 300 bob. So you end up even losing more. Now, we are talking about stimulating the economy. Remember, in the past, we have experienced stimulus packages. One of the stimulus package is whereby we say, kazi kwa vijana, mutaani. Government releases billions of money, huge amounts of money, just to pay young people to do some not very economically engaging jobs, but they are paid, so they have some money in their pocket. They will be able to use that money within the local economies, and there will be circulation of money in the economy. Other nations, they use different ways of stimulating economies. For instance, United States of America used a food stuff, I don't know, coupon. Stamps, whereby if you want to get some money every 4 weeks, you go to the bank, you get some allowance, you use that money to do whatever you want to do, to buy food for your family. That is another way of stimulating economy. Still, there's a way you can also stimulate the economy through military. We can decide now, okay, we need to spend a lot of money in military. We have some neighbors who are not behaving well. Let's start a conflict. It has happened in other nations. It has not started here in Kenya. There are many ways of stimulating an economy. But this government, what it has said, we are going to stimulate this economy through a housing program. Because this housing program is not just a matter of building, it's a matter of those who are manufacturing cement, those who are doing timber work, those who are doing quarry work, stones, those who are doing tiles, those who are doing roofing materials, those who are doing sand harvesting in our villages, those who are doing the work of transportation. So it's a stimulation of economy across all sectors. We'll have employment in different sectors. The cement manufacturing companies, they will require to employ more people. The manufacturing companies in tiles and iron sheets, they require to employ more people. Those who are doing timber work, carpenters and workshops, they require to employ more people. The iron manufacturing companies in this country will require to manufacture more people. To employ more people, meaning the iron ore in our country will be more mined. People, communities will get money. So it will be able to stimulate the entire economy.
And has been explained quite exhaustively there about the good side.
Yes.
Because it's been quite a discussion in the public domain, the good and not the not so good. When you listen to the Kenyans again, when you try to get to the heartbeat, Vivian, actually you realize that their main concern is not even so much the stimulating method as it is the trust they have. Can they trust the system? That is the question, Vivian. Can you engage that?
For sure, we don't trust the government. And when I say we, I'm speaking for myself and many other Kenyans who are just ordinary people. We don't trust the government because, and when I say government, it's a term I'm loosely using to mean people we have elected to represent us in the governance of Kenya and the resources that Kenya has. So we don't trust them. We don't trust them because there have been lots of corruption cases before, prosecuted and not prosecuted. The general sentiment is that it's okay. You can do corrupt deals, but if you're a moneyed person or a well-connected person or a powerful person, you'll get away with it. The only people who get justice are the chicken thieves. Those ones are promptly prosecuted, promptly jailed, they serve their term. But as long as you are the who's who, the elite, the political elite, you'll get away with it. So people have seen this over and over and over and over, and nothing has really changed over the years. So when you tell someone, contribute from your salary 3%, or even, let's say 1% even, why would I trust you when over the years I have seen what is happening, even with the little that you're taking? It's not doing what it's supposed to do. It's instead lining pockets and enriching a few people, you see. So because if we had trust, I'm sure this housing tax may not have been a big deal because we would be, we would see, okay, money collected, this is what it does. But right now, the honest truth is our education system is still in shambles. Our healthcare is still in shambles. But a few people are getting richer and richer and richer. And the ones who don't have are getting poorer and poorer. And it doesn't help that the very government, during the campaign, promised things that are contrary to what the public is seeing now. So already that is like a breach of trust, because when I go to the ballot to vote, I vote based on your promise. You have promised you will do 1, 2, 3. So I'm voting for you based on that. But if you get into office and you do a 180-degree turn, how do I trust you with what you're saying now? How do I know what you're saying now in a month you will deliver? So yes, we have trust issues, and with good reason. They are not based on flimsy things. It's with good reason what we have seen. For example, the president saying we will not have an increase in electricity prices. Electricity is key to production, manufacturing, and everything. A few weeks down the line, electricity goes up by 63%. So the next time you tell us something, why would we believe you? Mheshimiwa is talking very well about using the housing program to stimulate the economy. But these very cement manufacturers, they use electricity in production. That means everything, transport, fuel, you know, everything goes up. So it's irony. It's irony to say that, you know, this is our goal, this is what we want to do, but the actions you're using to deliver this vision the math is not mathing.
Yeah, let's stay with the trust component.
So
and we'll just finish that. Yeah.
So I just want to finish. So on the trust component, the general sentiment of the public is we don't trust our leaders. You know. We don't trust the government, and it's based on what we have seen.
All right.
And what we hear. You know, you say we are putting in place austerity measures, but you're spending 4.8 million every day in State House on hospitality. They don't add up. So you're saying we want to save and we want to, you know, build the economy, but when it comes to your personal things like luxury vehicles, you're spending billions. So how, it's like you are a father of a household and you tell your kids, things are thick. I need to move you from your nice private school to a public school where we'll spend 1,000 a month. But your father is buying luxury suits. He got a new car. The rest of you, mumewekwa data may change. You've been moved from chicken, now you're on omena. But your father is rolling. He has a nice suit. Everything of his is, you know, it makes you wonder, okay, how come we don't get to live like you? Like you are living a large life and we are not. So it's like we are the ones carrying this burden and we are not on the same league. So those are the things that bring about these trust issues.
All right. I think, and Mheshimiwa, you will also agree with me that perception is very important. The way the people of Mbeere perceive you is very important.
Yes.
If they perceive you as sacrificing for them, you know, they will actually talk about you as they, you know, eat their food in the, you know, in the evening, as they are around their fires, they'll say, "Tukomna mheshimiwa," you know, as they are in their social gatherings, they see you coming, they say, they will even give you a new name. You know, the sacrificing one.
Yes.
Because the perception is very important. Now, this perception of mistrust, what's your recommendation as to how the administration should actually fix this perception gap?
It is true Kenya has come from difficult times. The trust with President Moi government was a problem. There were quite a number of factors which led to the way President Moi performed. Remember, the coup of 1982 changed President Moi completely to a different person. He realized this power can go. He could not be able to trust anybody. And the Africa continental politics, then the matrix which were happening within the surrounding of other African nations, influenced the behavior of President Moi. Several people in his government took advantage of that. Then we had President Kibaki, who so far is one of the best president this country had. And he did quite a lot, you know, and many Kenyans had a lot of trust as far as the leadership of President Kibaki is concerned. Then Uhuru government, there were ups and downs as far as his government is concerned. We are in a completely new government. We are not in Uhuru government. Remember, we have new ministers, new permanent secretaries who are not permanent secretaries in other government, in Uhuru's government for 10 years. Ministers who are not ministers in Uhuru government. We have totally different people in charge of the affairs of the Republic of Kenya. We have a new president who was not the president in the previous government. And don't tell me that he was a deputy president. Even Kibaki was vice president to Moi, and he could not be able to do anything. You have to respect the end of state. The power surrounding or vested to the president by this constitution is too much. We have a totally new administration. What I can request Kenyans is that we need to give this financial year up to July next year. If things will not have changed in this country, then they can say now they have not trust with this government. I have more than 100% trust with this government that it's going to do things differently. And let me tell you, you know, as I said, members of parliament are privileged. It's a privileged position. We are able to sit down with the president and discuss in the State House, all of us, when we have parliamentary groups. And you can see the passion. You can see the commitment which the president has in changing what has been happening in this country. We may talk about what happened in NHIF. I know what has happened in NHIF. I know Kenyans are talking about that. But you know, it's not President Ruto's government officials who are doing that. It is hospital facilities who have been colluding in the past to steal money from. It's not officials.
But it's now on your watch.
Yes.
It's now on your watch. I think it's good to also take responsibility that it's on your watch.
Yes, and the government is handling that matter with a lot of seriousness. I can assure you, any government official, whether permanent secretary or a minister, who is not going to perform his duty properly, I am more than 100% sure that person will feel the pain of not doing the duty as per the constitution of the land. We are talking about the value. This constitution talks about the values of our nation. This constitution talks about how any state officer should be able to conduct himself or herself. I think it's Article 75. Is it Article 75 or I don't know. Yeah, talk about the values. I mean, how state officers should be able to conduct. Yes, Article 75 of our Constitution, conduct of state officers. It is written clearly.
And of course, now the main issue is in the practice, in the execution.
Yes.
And Honorable Rocco, you've used very passionate words, like 100%.
Yes, yes.
In fact, you've used words like hang on the highest tree.
Yes.
You know, I use that symbolically, of course.
Yes.
And a very, very acute language when it comes to the need for the leadership in this present administration to walk the talk.
Yes,
And to just do things radically different. In fact, the word you've used, again, has been radically.
Yes.
And we hope to see this radicality as we go along, especially in the aspect of winning the trust of the Kenyans.
Yes.
And we have a few minutes remaining, but it's always good to just hear the last word here from Vivian, especially about your feel of where the young people are, because they are a critical part of what's going on in this country. Just a brief word on that.
You know, there's a Swahili saying, siku njema huonekana asubuhi. Yani, you can see a good day from morning. You know, you can foretell. So we're already 1 year, almost a year now, since the regime took charge of Kenya's affairs. I think it's unfair to ask us for another 1 year for us to see any meaningful. By now, we should already see steps, progress being made. It may not be conclusive, but at least we should see, good progress. Just the way when Kibaki came in, we started seeing progress, early on in the regime. So I think that's where I'd fault the regime. But then bringing in the aspects of young people, I think I'd like to see more inclusivity in the government. I think they've tried, but they could do more. They could do more in terms of including young people, in terms of including women in state matters. But also, speaking still on the issue of trust, I think the president should lead from the front. Mheshimiwa has spoken about his passion and his commitment. For me as a Kenyan, his passion and commitment are important, but even more important are action, implementation. So when you're talking about austerity measures, let it permeate through entire government. Let us start seeing that, okay, now he's passionate about this, he's committed. Let's start seeing action, things happening, heads rolling. You know, if the austerity measures cut unnecessary costs, if you're serious about corruption, let some people be prosecuted. Let people see something happening, even if it's just little, but at least it will show progress. This will buy our trust. We'll be like, okay, we can see something is happening. But please don't tell me my little salary of 50,000, unataka kutoa NHIF, unataka kuongeza tax, I'm not working for the government, I'm working for myself and my family. In any case, all the money, the trillion, I don't know, 2.3 trillion shilling budget, sioni vile inanisaidia kama mwananchi. I mean, I want to see more. I want to see better and more accessible healthcare, better education, better infrastructure. Not just akina mheshimiwa in big 4x4s zooming past, no traffic, no nothing, as the rest of us are in traffic. No, we pay. Like the service they offer, it is our blood, sweat, and tears. So they need to remember that it is on the backs of Kenyans that they are riding.
Okay.
You want our trust, begin to act. Begin to show by action, not words. Hatutaki maneno mazuri, matamu, hapana. We want to see action. You say you're serious about corruption, begin to do something about it.
All right.
You say you're serious about austerity, begin to do something about it. Msituambie mnatupatia kazi ya mjengo, hatutaki kazi ya mjengo. Hizo za ofisi mnazo tunataka.
Very briefly, Mheshimiwa, very briefly about young people and just speaking to them about, what they should be thinking of, what they should be feeling right now and expecting.
The future of this nation is in the hands of the young people. They have to be supported in the biggest way possible by the government of the day. And the government of the day is trying to do that. It came up with a program of ASRA's fund, which is a small step in the right direction, our first step in the right direction. There are also about 7 million Kenyans who are not employed, and most of them are young people. It's the first budget in the Republic of Kenya to be aligned with the value chain processes, that you're investing money, seeing the end of where you put money so that we produce a product X. Where are we going to take this product X? In that value chain process, that's where we are going to create jobs for the young people who seriously need jobs. I know they are hardworking young, well-trained young people, because our universities, our colleges, even those who have different talent are coming into the job market every single day. So these value chain processes, for the first time in the budget-making process of the Republic of Kenya, has been properly aligned. And I am sure, and that's why I'm asking, because the budget which was being implemented from October last year, when this government took office, is the budget of the last regime, which was not properly aligned. And by the way, there was completely zero when the government was taking over. And the amount of money which this government is paying to the foreign debts is at a ratio of 7 to 3. For every 10 shillings government gets, 7 goes to payment of debt. 3 bob is what we are trying to share among paying the police, the civil servant, the teachers, the military, and other. It's impossible, completely impossible to run a government like that.
All right.
So at the moment, since we have the Kenya Kwanza administration has aligned everything properly, let's give the president and his team these 10 months or 12 months from this month of July to the next year, July.
Okay.
If nothing would have changed, then I would say yes, we have a problem.
And as Vivian says, it will be 2 years now into the administration. So thank you very much, Mheshimiwa, Honorable Geoffrey Ruku, your great views and your passion.
Yes.
And I liked what you said about the burning within you to make a difference at this particular time. May the calling, persist. And may the fire, to make a godly difference, persist as well.
Amen.
Vivian, as you continue also to check the systems and air your views also, may they come also from the right spirit, even as you raise your voice as well, to make sure that everything is checked and balanced. Viewer, this has been Spotlight. We've been talking about the state of the nation, specifically the value state. And I'm sure that you've gleaned a lot of perspectives from this conversation. Again, thank you for always being part of this Spotlight program. We always appreciate. This has been Spotlight again. Have a good night.